Many years ago, in a town named Afiku, there lived a young man named Ekene. He was a successful businessman. Ekene, while he was growing up, have always had this mentality that for him to have a peaceful marriage, he must marry a village girl who is not too wise and inexpensive like the city girls who were expensive to maintain. Ekene before now has had several relationships with several women, which did not always end well, as most of them were there for his money. He then decided not to commit into any relationship with them. His plan has always been that when the time comes for him to marry, he would go to the village and get himself a good wife. He always told his friends that the reason they complained about their wives whenever they talked was because city girls are very wise and they have a mind of their own. They cannot be controlled, he always told them. But you see all these village girls, they are naive, they don't know anything. His last relationship was with a young woman named Reby, who worked in one of the banks where he was one of the customers. Obi had been with Ekene for 2 years now, when one day he suddenly asked her to stop coming to his house, that it was over between them. Obi pleaded with Ekene if he could give her any tangible reason why he just suddenly said he was no longer interested in their relationship. She also pleaded with some of his friends who were close to him to know if he could have a change of mind. But his heart was made up. She was so heartbroken that he did not consider how she has given her all to their relationship. But after she tried all she could to make Ekene change his mind, she stopped going to see him. Few months after they broke up, Ekene traveled to the village. He told his mother about his plans to marry a girl from their village. His mother was so excited with the news. My son, I'm just happy with this decision you just made. So, Mama, this is the reason why I returned. You are welcome, my son. Mama, all I want is a young, beautiful girl with wife material. My son, you know our girls make good wives, so that won't be a problem, she assured him. After a week in the village, he was able to choose one of the girls that was introduced to him. He chose one of the most beautiful girls among them. Her name was Ifenkili. Ifenkili was a very beautiful girl who just finished secondary school that year in their community village school. Her mother's name was Ego. She was a single parent whose husband had abandoned with her 3 daughters in the city and disappeared with another woman in the city. Ekene was so captivated by Ifenkili's beauty and charming looks that he did not bother about the other qualities of a good wife, even when his mother insisted that she must be tested to know if she can cook. Ekene said to his mother that that wasn't a problem. My child, she said to him, beauty is not everything, you know. Don't bother, Mama, I'm already in love with Ifenkili, he said. Ekene went to Ifenkili's people and performed all the traditional marriage rites. Ifenkili was so happy that she was coming to the city as a wife to a man that was doing well. Ekene and Ifenkili returned to the city a few days back after their traditional marriage. Ekene's friends, who he has boasted to and called on the phone to come see his beautiful wife, visited him the next weekend after he returned from the village. They were all thrilled at the beauty of Ifenkili. Ekene, they said, you are so lucky. Look at this beautiful damsel. You went and plucked in the village. She is so beautiful. As they waited for her to bring the food she has been preparing in the kitchen. Ifenkili, please be fast, eh? My friends can't wait any longer for your food. The smell is really inviting, Ekene said. Just give me a few minutes and the food will be ready, Ifenkili said as she smiled. Few moments later, the food was ready and the men descended on the food with hunger that has been biting their bellies as they waited for her. They have decided not to eat before coming so they could eat enough food in Ekene's house. Ekene saw his friends shouting in fear and blowing their tongue as they cried pepper as they ran out of his house. Ekene was surprised, ran after them, pleading with them that he was very sorry. Ekene, there's no need following us. You just have to go and taste the food that your wife gave to us. Ekene in shame turned back and came back to his house. He went straight to the food and tasted it and shouted, Ifenkili, what is this? Is this thing food? Ekene, what's that now? Is it not food you are looking at? Ifenkili, this food is very tasteless and pepperish, very salty. And you expect grown-up men like that to manage this food? He went into his bedroom, wore his shirt. Ekene went to a nearby restaurant where he had dinner. When he returned, Ifenkili shouted and asked him where he was coming from. So you mean you left me all alone by myself without telling me where you are going to? And now you just came back asking me to run a hot bath for you. As your house girl now, see Ekene, I don't want to be angry this night. You better suit yourself. As she climbed the bed and covered herself with the duvet and slept off. Ekene was surprised at the audacity of Ifenkili. He said to himself that it was understandable. I know she is angry because of what happened. As he went to run his bath. The next morning, before Ekene left for his business, he asked Ifenkili to wash some of his clothes that was in the laundry basket so he could take them to the laundryman for ironing. Also, please, Ifenkili, try to cook the breadfruit that Mama gave to us before it gets bad. As he left hurriedly to his shop, Ifenkili that morning after her husband has left was busy watching African movies and other sitcoms. She was so carried away that she forgot to wash Ekene's clothes. It was that evening that she remembered that she has not washed Ekene's clothes and also she has not prepared the breadfruit that he asked her to prepare for dinner that night. Knowing that Ekene would soon be home, she rushed into the kitchen and hurriedly prepared the breadfruit, which needed enough time to cook well. But because she wanted to beat time, she served Ekene the breadfruit like that. Ekene in anger asked, Ifenkili, what is this? How can you serve me half-cooked breadfruit? Ekene, it's not me, oh, she shouted. I don't know the type of breadfruit that your mother gave to us, so. I have cooked this breadfruit for hours now. I had to bring it down before our gas would finish. Ekene was already upset, but just decided to maintain peace that night. Went to bed on an empty stomach that night. At the middle of the night, he woke up. He looked at Ifenkili, who was far asleep. He asked himself, what did I bring upon myself? Ifenkili cannot cook a good meal. Even the simplest meals, she cannot cook. It's either it gets burnt or half cooked. Just wasting my money. She doesn't know how to tidy the house. I have to clean the house myself before going to my business. I thought that village girls were humble and hardworking. If Obi, my friend, did not marry from the village, I would have said maybe this is how village girls behave. But Obi's wife is hardworking, very respectful, and can manage things very well. But for Ifenkili, she is proud, never ready to say sorry or admit her wrongs. If I don't say sorry to her, she will refuse to speak to me for days. I followed Obi's step and see where it has landed me now. He said to himself, what do I do to remedy this situation? I've already entered So that night he made up his mind to enroll Fenkili in a catering school, if that would be the solution. I will also ask her to join me in tidying the house so she could also learn to mop the floors. The next day, he told Ifenkili about his decision to enroll her into a catering school, and he hoped she would be happy about it. But to his disappointment, she told Ekene that she was going nowhere, and that as for the cleaning, have you not been the one taking care of your home all this while? After all, you have been doing it before you married me. So why has it become a problem now? She asked as she left the bedroom. Ekene was speechless for some time. He did not know what to say. He was so bothered that all Ifenkili did all day was take her bath, sit down on the sofa and watch movies all day. Preparing their meals was very difficult for her. Ekene decided to prepare their meals and clean the house. This he did for some months. His friends observed he was no longer that free-spirited and cheerful man that he was before he married. They tried to know what the problem was, but he was saying nothing. So they minded their business. Ekene has returned from his business one evening when Ifenkili came to him and asked him to give her some money that she wanted to go to the spa to fix her nails. Ekene was surprised. Why this sudden need that you want to go to the spa? You look beautiful and I'm not complaining. Why the extras? He asked. You think I'm not seeing all these beautiful women in the city, ba? Said Ifenkili. If I look like them, is it bad? Ekene, who did not want any trouble that night, promised to take her to the spa the next day. So the next day, Ekene took her to the spa, where they will make her nails and give her a makeover. He promised Ifenkili that he was going to come back for her, so they could go home together that evening. When Ekene returned that evening, Ifenkili was nowhere to be found. He asked the woman who owned the spa, "Where is my wife, madam?" He said to Ekene, "Is your wife a child that I should be watching over an adult like her?" As she continued with her work, Ekene was confused as fear and confusion gripped his heart. His palms were sweating. Where could this girl be now? "What is this now?" he said. "Where is Ifenkili now?" He prayed to God that nothing evil should happen to Ifenkili. As he entered the street searching for Ifenkili, he was asking people and also describing her to the people that he met on his way. He then decided to go home and check if she was there, but she was not in the house. He went to the police station and reported the incident to the police. When he got home that night, he couldn't sleep as he thought about Ifenkili, her safety. What could have made her leave the spa? Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months, and Ifenkili was nowhere to be found. "Where is Ifenkili?" everybody asked. He could not tell Ego, Ifenkili's mother, about the incident that happened. As he continued his search for Ifenkili, Ekene was in his shop one day when one of his customers, Chief Osita, who owned many businesses in the city, called him to supply some lightings to his hotel in the center of the city. He drove to the hotel, supplied the lightings, and was coming out from the hotel with Chief Osita when he saw a very beautiful lady who looked like Ifenkili. But because he didn't see her well, and he wondered what Ifenkili would be doing in a hotel, so he went to the car park. As he entered his car, he was about to drive off. He saw Chief Osita with a young girl coming out of his hotel. As he looked, he recognized it was Ifenkili. What is happening here? Is this not Ifenkili I'm seeing? He used his handkerchief to wipe off his eyes as he quickly got out of his car, rushed to Chief Osita, and indeed his eyes was not lying to him. It was Ifenkili in flesh and blood. He screamed in anger and surprise, "Ifenkili, what are you doing here? What are you doing with Chief Osita? I've been searching all over the city for you. What are you doing here?" he asked Ifenkili. Ifenkili, who was chewing her gum, dressed in skimpy clothes with long lashes and long nails. Her arms tightly hung on Chief Osita's arms. "Please, sir," he said to Chief Osita, "this is my wife, Ifenkili. We were barely married for 6 months before she went missing." He narrated to him how she insisted she needed a makeover at the spa, which I took her to a spa, promising to come back to take her home that evening, since she can't find her way around the city. Only to my surprise, when I got there, she was missing. As we speak, her case is in the police station for a missing person. It's now almost 3 months that she has gone missing. Chief Osita asked Ifenkili if what Ekene was saying was true, but she denied that she has never met Ekene before, talk more of getting married to him. "Have we met before?" he said to Ekene. "Hey!" Ekene shouted as Ifenkili and Chief Osita entered his car and drove off. "Ewo!" Ekene shouted. "Ifenkili, you have finished me." Ekene was heartbroken and almost lost his grip. People ran to hold him as he fell on the floor weeping like a child. He could not believe that his new young wife could deny him to his face. People around tried to comfort him, but saying he was badly affected, they helped him and took him to his house. His friend Obi later on brought back his car from the hotel. Ekene could not eat for days. He did not take his bath for days too. He could not also go to his shop. His friends rallied around him, comforting him, and spoke hard to him that he needed to face the reality that his wife has left him for a wealthy man. Obi said to Ekene, "Why are you crying over a woman that doesn't care about you? If anything bad happens to you, she has moved on with her life, and you are here crying over spilled milk." Ekene one afternoon summoned courage and called his mother, who was crying on the phone. When he narrated the pain, the betrayal, and shame that Ifenkili brought upon him, his mother continued to console him. "My son, take it easy. Our women are good wives. It's just that Ifenkili is an exception." "No problem, Mama. I just said let me let you know what is happening." As he dropped the phone, he later on that day called Ifenkili's mother Ego. She was not surprised at all. She only asked Ekene if he was taking good care of Ifenkili for her to just leave him. "It's surprising, no? Well, you also know that she's an adult. I cannot force her. It's her decision," as she hung up the phone on him. Ekene cried all day as he regretted calling Ifenkili's mother, who was not even bothered about her daughter's behavior. "See how I used my hand to choose evil over good. I've missed Obi. Obi loved and respected me. She was hardworking. She never depended on any man. And I saw that as a threat. I wanted a woman that I could control, a woman that would depend on me for everything. That was why I went to the village to marry. When I saw Ifenkili, I thought she was more than I bargained for. She was very beautiful and also a village girl for that matter. She looked very innocent and naive. Ekene was at home one afternoon when his mother called him. My son, you just have to move on with your life. You won't believe what happened to me today when I went to see Mama Ifenkili. I had gone to visit her to know if she could call her daughter to order and make her reconsider her decision. My son, you won't believe that Mama Ifenkili asked me to leave her shop, that my son is not man enough, that he is not capable enough to take care of her beautiful daughter. She almost drove me out of her bar, my child. Mama, you mean that Ifenkili's mother did this to you? My son, you know me very well. I'm not exaggerating, no. Please, you just have to move on with your life. If you see another woman in the city, marry. At least those ones are used to the life in the city. So there is nothing new to them again. Mama, I look like a fool. Ifenkili fooled me. Don't worry, my son. Everything will be fine. Ekene had gone to get some groceries one afternoon at a supermarket close to his house. It was on a sunny weekend. As he was about to leave the supermarket, he ran into Obi, who was holding two girls who looked exactly like her. They were both surprised as they had not seen each other for the past 4 years since they went their ways. Wow, shouted Ekene. You now have two beautiful daughters. So how is your husband? He must be very handsome too. Your daughters are pretty. Yes, indeed, she said. How is your wife too and your kids? She also asked. But Ekene's face turned pale as he did not know what to answer her. They bade each other farewell as she entered the supermarket with her daughters. What happened to Ekene? He has really changed. He looked sad when I asked him about his family. I hope all is well with him. One of the days, she ran into Obi, Ekene's closest friend. She told him how she met Ekene the other day at the supermarket. She asked Obi if all was well with Ekene. Obi, all is not well with my friend though. Ekene hit the rock, married a girl from the village who he brought to the city, and she ran away with another man. Ekene must be disheartened, Obi said. Please, Obi, you just have to make out time one of these days to go see my friend Ekene. I'm not making any promise, so said Obi, but I'll consider it. Obi asked, how are the girls doing? They are fine, oh. Ekene was in his house one evening when somebody knocked at the door. He went to see who it was, and to his surprise, it was Obi. He welcomed her into his home. As they talked about a lot of things, Ekene asked Obi, how is your husband? That one? It's a long story, oh. After we parted our ways, I met Collins. He was very handsome, charming, and soft-spoken. I was swept off my feet by the love he claimed for me. We courted, and he made sure I got pregnant for him. We were preparing for our wedding when he presented a very profitable business idea to me. I blindly gave him the money, not doing a thorough research, which has always been my way. 3 days to our wedding, he traveled for the business, as he told me that he was going to call me once he gets to his destination. I waited throughout that day for his call. Even when I tried calling him, his phone number was switched off. So I waited till the next day. I tried calling his phone number again. That was when I found that he has blocked my line. Ekene, he swindled me of my hard-earned 9 million naira. I was left with nothing to take care of myself and my unborn children. I had to cancel the wedding. I fell back on my job as I had lots of loans on my neck, which I collected from my bank. It was not easy. Being pregnant with twins in this economy, I accepted my fate, as the police could not get him since he has already changed his phone number. I thought I was not going to survive that period of my life, but God's grace and favor has kept my daughters and I. I have single-handedly raised my girls these 4 years without any financial help from anybody, but God has been faithful and merciful. My children and I don't look like what we are coming from. I sold my car, all my expensive jewelries, everything I could sell just to take care of myself and my daughters. I thank God things are getting better now. Ekene was so touched by Obi's sad experience. I'm so sorry for all that befell you. Obi, I really admire your strength and courage. It's not easy. Life hasn't been fair to me too, Ekene said. The wife I married from my village left me for another man. I have already moved on. It's over 2 years now since she left me. I learned she is now the fourth wife to the man she ran off with. It was already getting late, so Obi had to leave. Ekene was grateful to Obi for looking out on him, even after how he treated her. Weeks on, Ekene and Obi reconciled and they started going out with each other. Ekene frequented Obi's house, buying lots of gifts for the girls. Ekene and Obi's relationship blossomed and he proposed to her, promising to respect and love her. She accepted his proposal and they got married. Ekene took Obi's two daughters as his children. He loved them so much and became the father they never had. A year later, Obi became pregnant and had a son for Ekene. He was so happy that God has finally completed his joy. His marriage to Obi was the best thing that happened to him. Ekene and Obi and their children were leaving a restaurant one evening after lunch that Saturday afternoon. When they saw a beggar, the girls felt pity for her and pleaded with their parents to give them some money so they could give to the beggar. But Ekene told them not to worry, that he would do that. Obi was carrying their little son. When Ekene got to the beggar, he dropped the money in her plate. He then suddenly heard his name. He froze in shock. It was Ifenkili's voice. He looked well at her, and truly, it was Ifenkili. He almost left in resentment, but decided to wait as she continued to plead with him for mercy. He remembered that God has been faithful to him and that everything that happened to him was to his own favor. So he asked Ifenkili, "What are you doing here? What happened to you? You now have a child? Where is Shifosita?" "Okay, you know what? Just leave the son with your child." As they looked for a shade nearby. That was how Ifenkili narrated all her ordeal after the death of Chifosita to him. "You mean Chifosita is dead?" "There is indeed nothing in this world." Ifenkili was now a shadow of herself. She looked very dirty, unkempt, and hungry. Ekene went back to the car and told Obi what happened and who he had just met. "Let's just give her some money," said Obi. "I have been wondering what kept you this long." Obi, don't worry. When we get home, I will tell you everything." So he went back and gave Ifenkili some money and advised her to go back to the village. "I don't have any money, so that was why I decided to beg, to save up money and also feed myself and my child," complained Ifenkili. "Well, this should be able to sustain you and take you to the village," he said. "Ekene, please, I'm very sorry for everything. I'm ashamed of myself. I don't deserve any pity or mercy from you and your wife. I see she is very beautiful and you look happy too. I never deserved you, Ekene. Thank you so much." As she strapped her child on her back and walked away, Ekene returned to his car and they drove off to the house. After dinner and having put the children to sleep, Ekene narrated to Obi all that Ifenkili told him. Ifenkili has been a prostitute before she returned to the village 3 years ago with her mother, who their father left with another woman in the city because of her unfaithfulness to him. Her mother introduced Ifenkili to prostitution when she was 14, so they could make ends meet as things was very hard for them. She said when I brought her to the city, she saw it as an opportunity for her to continue with her lifestyle as she saw marriage as a cage, so she needed her freedom. That was why she used that opportunity when she went to the spa to escape. She told me that she followed a young woman that she had met at the spa, who she talked to and told her that she was stranded in the city. The woman took pity on her and took her to the hotel where she lived. That was where she also met Chifosita, who later married her as his fourth wife. Chifosita became sick and died of a heart attack one of the nights in the hospital where he was admitted. After Chief Osita's death, his other wives and their grown-up children teamed up together and beat up Ifenkili and sent her and her child away out of their home. They blamed her for killing their husband. Chief Osita was always at one party or the other with Ifenkili. They drank and danced in various clubs. It was during one of their outings that Chief Osita slumped and was rushed to the hospital where he was admitted and later died. His wives made sure she took nothing with her from the house. That was how she was sent into the streets. She had to beg so she could feed herself and her child before we now met her. I believe that with that money we gave her, it will help her travel back to the village. This is so sad though. I just feel so bad about everything, said Obi. It's still disheartening how Ifenkili, such a promising young girl, wasted her life. Ifenkili later on traveled to the village with her child. She joined her mother in her bar. Ekene and Obi lived happily ever after. Ekene learned his lessons the hard way. That what works for Mr. A may not work for Mr. B. He took his decisions based on presumptions, not the reality. Thank you so much for watching this story. I really appreciate your time and support. Let's share our thoughts in the comment section. For more interesting stories, please subscribe and give a thumbs up to this story. Also share with your loved ones and family. Until we meet again next time, stay blessed and